Alright, take cover, y'all. This 1986 grim war epic was directed by Oliver Stone, and it follows U.S. Army volunteer Chris Taylor navigating war and sanity in Vietnam. The film is harrowing and sobering and feels real, which makes sense when you learn that Stone wrote the screenplay based upon his own experiences as a soldier in Vietnam, directly countering the vision of war that was portrayed in John Wayne's The Green Berets. The reception of this film was grand. Platoon took home 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and it is regarded by many to be the best war film of all time. I'm your host, Nostalgic Nick, and today we're checking back in on the squad to see what they've been up to since war. And we'll find out which lead singer from one of the biggest bands of the 60s and 70s did Oliver Stone originally send the script to in hopes of him playing the lead, and how his tragic death prevented such casting. If you enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel so you never forget the good stuff. Alright, it's time to head out. Tom Barringer.
There's the way it ought to be, there's the way it is.
Sergeant Barnes is very much the antagonist of the film. He's cold and brutal and heavily scarred both physically and emotionally. Oliver Stone intentionally cast Tom Barringer and Willem Dafoe against their usual type. Barringer was oftentimes a good guy, while Dafoe notoriously scary in films. But this casting swap worked, and both men received Oscar nominations. Tom's only nom of his career, which began in 1975 on the popular soap One Life to Live. But he was quickly drawn to the dark side, as his feature debut was playing Diane Keaton's killer in Looking for Mr. Goodbar in 1977. Tom Barringer was considered for the lead role in Die Hard, but don't worry, he did okay. He led the way for the stacked cast of The Big Chill in 1983, as well as re-teaming with Charlie Sheen playing the aged catcher in Major League. The 90s brought more success, like 1996's The Substitute and 1999's One Man's Hero. And he's still at it today in his early 70s. His last prominent role was in 2020, the film Blood and Money. And when the actor isn't working, he's living in the quaint Beaufort, South Carolina. Charlie Sheen. Chris Taylor is young and naive, and he arrived with grand ideas of what war would be, but it all gets much more complicated when he is met with Barnes and sees what he does. The character development of Taylor is a central focus of the film, and it's probably Sheen's greatest performance of his career. Charlie was born in September of 1965, as his father, Martin Sheen, was gaining attention on Broadway. He had a couple cameo roles as a child, even being in the Philippines in 1977 when his dad suffered a near-fatal heart attack on the set of Apocalypse Now. Charlie Sheen was always around the biggest and the brightest. At high school, he and his friends, Rob Lowe and Sean Penn, maybe you've heard of them, produced and starred in amateur Super 8 films. But Sheen's professional acting debut came in a war much closer to home, the Patrick Swayze-led Red Dawn in 1984. But Platoon made him a worldwide star, and also directly led to his next huge picture. During the shoot of Platoon, Oliver Stone presented Charlie with a handwritten contract for his next movie, Wall Street. And this time he was not just echoing his father by narrating a war picture like Martin did for Apocalypse. The two starred in the film together.
I loved you in Wall Street!
Then throw in one with older brother Emilio Estevez in 1988's Young Guns, and the family affair kept on rolling. A personal favorite performance of mine was his playing the wild thing Ricky Vaughn in the hysterical home run of a film, Major League. In 1990, his gun accidentally shot his then fiancée, Kelly Preston, in the arm, when she moved a pair of his jeans, apparently. Then at the same time as he married his first wife, Donna Peel, in 1995. He was also named as one of the clients of an escort agency operated by Heidi Fleiss, which inevitably led to the couple's divorce in 1996. 2 years later, Sheen suffered a stroke after overdosing while using cocaine and was hospitalized. By the 2000s, he had met Denise Richards on the set of Good Advice. The two married in 2002 and had 2 daughters, but in 2005, Richards also filed for divorce, citing alcohol and drug abuse and threats of violence. And as recently recently as 2020, he's been the target of sexual assault allegations consisting of underage boys as young as 13. I'm still not sure we've seen the last of Charlie Sheen, but the last time we saw him in a film was co-starring with Whoopi Goldberg in 2017's 9/11, which, I didn't even know existed, and that's kind of a travesty on that fateful day. But if you've seen it, let me know in the comments if it's any good. Willem Dafoe. Sergeant Elias stands by dignity and truth, doing what he feels is right. The guy is a borderline hippie, and his yin-yang with Barringer's Barnes is the heart of the film. Dafoe is one of Hollywood's greatest, and began acting in 1980. We couldn't possibly name all of his awesome films, so here's a few where he shines bright. 1988's The Last Temptation of Christ, in which he played the role of Jesus. And Dafoe famously helped propel the superhero love of the modern era, terrifyingly portraying the Green Goblin in the Spider-Man franchise, and reprising his Goblin for 2021's Spider-Man No Way Home. And seriously, fans went crazy seeing Dafoe back in green.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Today, he is 66 years old and still making incredible projects. He was nominated for Oscars again in 2018 and 19, most recently in the film At Eternity's Gate. Dafoe divides his time between Rome, New York City, and LA, along with his Italian wife Giada. Keith David. King is one of the friendlier soldiers and is eventually sent home after his tour of duty comes to an end. David stepped onto the scene in 1979, and you've certainly seen him in more movies than you think, like 1982's The Thing and 1988's They Live. Or what about Keith the Handyman on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in the mid-80s? Along with live-action work, he's done Emmy-winning voice work too, voicing Goliath in the animated Gargoyles, and famously giving life to the animated Spawn.
Sweet hallelujah, these are good times, baby.
Today, Keith is in his mid-60s and has no signs of slowing down. He's got a whopping 10 projects in either post-production, filming, or announced, including the upcoming Jordan Peele sci-fi horror film Nope, which I will be seeing despite its title telling me not to. Forrest Whitaker. Big Harold is a pretty jovial and reassuring guy who shows genuine care for his brothers, especially after they are injured. Whitaker began acting in Hollywood in 1982, playing a football player, obviously, as he was briefly a scholarship college player too, in the coming-of-age classic Fast Times at Ridgemont High. But it was war films like Platoon and 1987's Good Morning Vietnam, which really put the young actor on the map. And he went all the way to the top, taking home the coveted Best Actor Oscar for his 2007 role in The Last King of Scotland, as well as living comfortably in sci-fi and superhero land, being terrific and wise and sage in both Black Panther and Star Wars Rogue One. Aside from being a renowned actor, he also directs, making his directorial debut in the HBO TV movie Strapped in 1993. And he's directed major films like 1998's Hope Floats and 2004's First Daughter. During the 2000s, he was the host and narrator of 44 new episodes of the Rod Serling classic The Twilight Zone. This wonderful actor is 60 years old today, and I was surprised to find out he also holds a black belt in Kimpo Karate. Francesco Quinn.
Looks like you got Elias' squad now.
Squad, sir. I know we're still referring to this platoon in terms of squads.
Vermucci is like a big brother to his fellow soldiers, especially during the final battle. He's a little rough around the edges with a gravelly voice, but he always looked out for his brothers. Francesco Quinn began acting in 1985, following in his dad's footsteps, as his father is Oscar-winning Anthony Quinn, who appeared in more than 200 films. Platoon was this young actor's first, but it also saddled him with a bad story of an incident when he and Dafoe were arguing to the point of punches being thrown. Francesco got to act alongside Dad in A Star for Two, also featuring Lauren Bacall. Then they shared the role of Santiago in the 1990 miniseries The Old Man and the Sea. And aside from acting, he enjoyed skiing, windsurfing, mountain biking, and actively raced motocross. But sadly, Francesco Quinn died in August of 2011. He suffered a heart attack while running up the street with his kids playing at home. He was just 48 years old. Johnny Depp. Lerner is the translator and is friendly and impressionable, and therefore visibly shaken and disturbed by Barnes' actions in the village. We couldn't leave off Johnny Depp, certainly one of the biggest Hollywood stars of all time, who got his start in 1984, getting shredded in bed for Nightmare on Elm Street, and he quickly became a teen idol for the series 21 Jump Street. And the actor had a meteoric rise to the top, with the help of collaborating with director Tim Burton, where this time Johnny got to have the Krueger hands in the wonderful Edward Scissorhands in 1990. The 2000s brought even more iconic characters, Captain Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean, and Willy Wonka, despite whether that one should have been done. Today, he is in his late 50s and has taken a hiatus from acting, but not totally by choice. Depp is battling claims of marital abuse since 2018 and is making headlines for his defamation court case against ex-wife Amber Heard. If innocent, we hope to see him dust off the shoulders, get the alcohol and drug abuse under control, and continue his mammoth acting career very soon. Kevin Dillon. Dillon played the sadistic bunny and comes from an acting family too. His brother is the outsider himself, Matt Dillon. And Kevin was also terrific in the Oliver Stone directed film The Doors, playing the drummer John Densmore. And remember when I said that Stone sent the script to a rock music legend, hoping he would play the lead role? Well, that was Jim Morrison. And when Jim was found dead in Paris in 1971, he had the first version of Platoon with him. Who knows if that casting choice would have made it past all the studio testings, but whoa, we nearly had Jim Morrison in Platoon. Wild. But we got the wild thing instead. Kevin Dillon, much like his brother, has had a wonderful career. And so many people love his HBO character Johnny Drama from the hit show Entourage. Just watch this NBA player react to his chant as he passes this Sacramento Kings fan and great actor. Platoon will always be a top 5 war film in my eyes. So what do you all think? Give me your top 3 war epics of all time. Patton, Platoon, you tell me. And what actor from this Oliver Stone masterpiece do you think puts in the finest performance? Get in the comments and let's discuss. As always, please, if you don't mind, smash the thumbs up icon and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a memory. But from all of us here at Do You Remember, thank you for watching, and an even bigger thank you to everyone who has served.